Okay, welcome to Teach Online TV. My name is Tyler Basu. I'm the content manager here at Thinkific, and I have the pleasure of chatting with two very incredible people today. We've got Josh Stanton, who's the co-founder of ScrewThe9to5.com. They have a membership community, which is now on Thinkific, and Rob, who helped set up this site, which is on Thinkific. And so today we're talking about running a membership site, running an online course business, and how you can make certain customizations on Thinkific to accommodate whatever your goals and priorities are when you're running your membership site. And so, Josh, I know I introduced you very briefly there, but if you could just tell us a little bit more about your brand, your business, what you teach, some of the courses you've got before we actually take a look at what you guys have built on Thinkific.
For sure, man. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. You guys have been absolutely incredible to us, which we've really appreciated. I cannot reiterate how great your customer support has been through this entire process, because it is quite a process putting together an entire course platform like this. And I just want to say, firstly, you guys have been great with that. So for our site, our business is ScrewThe9to5. And basically, the thing I always start off by telling people is that we help people quit their jobs. And then a lot of people ask, like, how do you do that? And so mainly, we try to identify, okay, what are you currently doing in your 9 to 5 right now? Like, what skills have you learned and developed that maybe you could transition into a business, and a business specifically online. Mostly, we mostly work with online businesses, some offline businesses, but mostly online. And so we have a private community, a membership community where we have a bunch of courses in there showing people how they can go from being in their job, coming up with an idea for an online business, growing that business, and eventually making enough revenue for them to be able to leave their 9 to 5 and go on from there. So that's what we're all about. Our membership site is called Screw You, not Screw You, Tyler, but You as University. And that's what we're going to be actually sharing the screen today and showing you guys that.
Perfect. Sounds good. And so, yeah, when we say the word screw you, throughout this interview, we are referring to the membership site. We're not mad at anybody here. Now, you've actually you've had this membership community for a couple of years now. I know you used to do the online courses that you would launch before you shifted to the membership model, where people are paying on a recurring basis, and you had that up and running for a while. So before we take a look at what you've set up on Thinkific, can we talk about why you made the move to Thinkific? Now, you don't have to mention the platform that you were on if you don't want to, but what were some of the limitations or challenges that you had with that platform that caused you to start looking for other options in the first place?
So we've kind of been through a journey with Screw You. So when we first started, we actually were just a course. But then we realized that a lot of people were taking the course, but not actually completing it and going through and doing all the things that we were telling them to do. And so because of that, we realized there needed to be something that supported them over an extended period of time. And then we started looking at different models, obviously still including course content because it is important. But what we came across was this membership community model, which was like people pay a monthly subscription to get access to all your course content and also access to monthly coaching calls. And more importantly, get access to a community of entrepreneurs, of like-minded people. That's the thing that we sort of underestimated the importance of from the very beginning. But over time, we realized that was the number one sticking point for why people kept paying month to month. So initially we started as a course, and we were just I think we were hosting on a WordPress plugin. I'm not sure which one it was. It was like one of the 50 WordPress plugins there are out there. And it was fine, but it's just the functionality was it wasn't great. It was just people could log in and see their course content, and it was okay, but it just wasn't great. You know what I mean? And then when we switched to the membership model, we actually just kind of copied what someone else was doing, and we started with a forum platform. And the forum platform was fine. When we first started, it was this is pretty cool technology and whatnot. But over time, people started to think okay, I prefer to use a Facebook group to a forum, firstly. And then secondly, all of our course content, we actually moved in and put them as like threads in the forums. And so it was really hard for people to navigate around and find that course content. And so people kept saying to us, they're like, why are you still using this? This is like MS-DOS right now. Like on the outside, people said this to us, from a marketing standpoint, people were like, man, your marketing does not connect up with the back end with what you're providing, because they would see all the marketing on the front end and then sign up and log into this forum platform. They're like, this doesn't feel like what I paid for. So at that stage, we started looking for other platforms that we could migrate to, and we actually met up with Greg, the founder of Thinkific, in Vancouver for the first time. And I think Jill had a discussion with him. Jill's my wife and business partner. And I think we just stayed in touch with Greg until finally we said, you know what, let's do this. Let's switch over to Thinkific. And we started that process from there. And that's how we met up with Rob as well.
Yeah, Rob is somebody who's helped a lot of our customers create some really beautiful sites, and so I'm glad you guys connected. And what you've produced is really, really impressive together. Now, why don't we let's focus on when you made the switch, because you had to move all of your content and a community essentially to some extent to another platform. So what was the switch like for you guys? What was that process like?
Okay, so we'll start with like the initial vision. So like the initial vision we had was with a membership community, if you are looking to start a membership community and you're going to have course content, the best way to lay that out is to think in terms of a roadmap. So when someone comes in, like there's different, let's say you're traveling from New York to LA, right? And the final destination, which is like the success goal that you're trying to get to with your business, whatever it is that you're coaching your students on, is LA, right? But there's these checkpoints along the journey that you want to follow along. And there's a fast path towards getting to LA, but then there's like a slow, jagged path that most people follow, right? So your goal is to house your courses in the fastest possible direction to get to LA, right? Does that make sense? It's sort of like creating in a straight line, right? Yeah. The way you do that is you identify checkpoints that people want to reach, or they want to sort of like get to along that journey. And so that's what we did. We have a 5-stage roadmap called Momentum Marketing. And each of those stages, we have different courses housed under those. And so when we look in Screw You in a second, you'll see that on the homepage, we have those 5 sort of categories, or those 5 stages. And then if you click into them, you'll see the specific courses you have to take under that stage. Now, this is really important because for us, when someone is joining our membership, they're not all starting at the first stage. They may be starting at stage 3, they may be starting at stage 4. Most of them aren't at stage 5, but they're not all starting at the same point. And so we help them self-identify where they're currently at, and then we tell them, you're in stage 3 right now. Here's the courses you should take. Don't worry about the other stuff. Here's the courses you should take right now, and here's the benchmarks you should try and hit before you can move on to the next stage.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So Rob, if you could show us like what you did from a technical standpoint to accommodate that vision and that path that he wanted his students and his members to be able to go down once they logged into the site.
Yeah, sure. No worries. And just to kind of build on top of what Josh said as well. I mean, even if you don't have as large of a business as Josh and Jill do, you can still do this. And if you just keep in mind what Josh had mentioned about getting results to your students and making sure that they know where they are in that journey, right? And getting to the point that you sold them on, right? And that's how we kind of organize Screw You is to organize the content so that it's grouped in those particular categories, so it makes it easy for the students to get the results that they were promised, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want me to share my screen now, I guess.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool. So let's do some screen sharing here. All right, just let me know if you can see it, Tyler.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is inside of Screw You. And Josh, if you want to jump in at any point in time as well, feel free to. I'll just kind of give the quick tour and just point out some of the things that we designed to give them the results that they were looking for. So when you're inside of Screw You, this is the student dashboard for those of you familiar with Thinkific's student dashboard. And it's all organized into these sections, these 5 stages of development here, right, in your business. And so if you're coming in here for the very first time, like Josh mentioned before, when you're welcomed in, you're actually greeted with a welcome video. So when you come in for the very first time, they do a great job at kind of introducing you to the Screw You site and getting you to where you need to go to. And then the site is then organized into all these different categories, basically. Okay. And then let's say you're in stage 1 and you're in what they call the grind, you're quickly reminded of all the results, all of the objectives or the benchmarks that are in this particular stage. And then you know exactly what you need to do. And you're not overwhelmed with everything else that's inside of the membership site. And then you have Jill, of course, on the side here, also encouraging you and reminding you of what you need to do.
Just to jump in there. So what you're going through here, this is such a good lesson for everyone to take in, is the onboarding process that I think most people disregard, but it's so important, right? And so that video, firstly, when someone first signs in, they see this video. If you want to click on that video, Rob. Yeah, so they're going to watch this video. And then at the end of that, I believe we set it up so that there'll be a link or a button that Jill looks really good there too. There'll be a button that people can click to go through a getting started series, which I think is so key. If you don't have a getting started series to like show people around like how it all works and stuff like that, then I think people are going to struggle to really feel like they can start taking the courses. So, bro, if you go back to the members area.
Okay. Yeah, just I wanted to mention one thing about the getting started video. We have it actually where it's forcing them to watch a certain length of it. So this way, that all of your members are being onboarded properly. And then the button is shown at a certain point, which is really kind of cool.
Oh, perfect.
Go back to the members area.
Yeah. So what happens after that is they're going to go through to the getting started training. And if you click on that link to go to the getting started training as well, we literally just created it's just like a 3-step process, basically. This is LBT, who's our community leader. So he just walks people through so the first one talks about coaching. And then after that, we have action steps. So we click on that. So we just tell people just do these action steps. Then community, they watch that video. And then they have action steps after that. And then courses, I'm going to watch that and see how to access different courses once you know what stage you're in. Oh, by the way, in the action steps, we also have them take a bit of a survey too, which helps self-identify what stage you're at. This is super key to have some kind of self-identification survey. And for that, we just use Typeform, which is really easy to use. So that's super key. That's the onboarding process. Yours may look different at ours. It probably will. But I just want to reiterate the importance of having an onboarding getting started series.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's a really good point. And I think it's especially important with the membership model because the membership model only works when people have a reason to stay and be a part of the community. This isn't the scenario where somebody pays you one time for a course and that's it. You may never hear from them. They may never hear from you. The transaction's over with. With this type of model, they need to have a reason to keep coming back and logging in and engaging with not only the content, but also with the community. And so I'm curious, I love how you set up the content so that your members can easily find and identify with which stage they're in and find the lessons that apply to them based on where they are. Now, how have you integrated the community component into all of this? How are members interacting with you as the instructor and with each other as well?
Yeah, so for this, we've got there's multiple things, right? So we have three prongs essentially to Screw You, which is coaching, courses, community. So the coaching is we do 2 hot seat calls, or they're actually live calls through Zoom. Each month we bring on 3 members and we have a hot seat with them and we just jam on one particular problem that they're having. So that's one part of the coaching. The other thing that we have is if you click on the ask, where you can see the hot seats and all the replays go up here as well. But then up the top, you can see ask a question. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of cool. Rob hacked this together where through the Thinkific custom pages, you can embed in a type form here. So if there's a video that explains like how this Q&A stuff works, if you click on start, then people can just put in information and then submit a question. We get those just in a spreadsheet, a nice well put together spreadsheet each week. And then we just answer questions. You know, we just record a video, answer questions, upload that video, and it's great. Like, we're creating content at the same time as answering people's questions, which is awesome. Then the community aspect of things, we have a Facebook group. So this is the link out to the private Facebook group there. And then we also have masterminds. We help facilitate masterminds where people can get put together into a group of people in their stage of business. So we can like help facilitate and encourage them to hop on a call like once a month with their mastermind group. Sort of like helps with accountability and things like that. And then we still have the forums, but the forums they're not as used now because most people use a Facebook group. And all our events are mentioned in that calendar there that Rob was hovering over as well. So we just embedded in a Google spreadsheet. There was a Google Calendar, which was super easy, so people can see when different events are coming up. So that's good.
Yeah, that's very cool. So Rob, how did you set that up, the calendar?
Yeah, so, what we tried to do was make it really super easy for, the Screw You team to manage this, right? And not have to always bother me all the time. So we kind of use two built-in features for Thinkific. One, for the course content, we're just using categories, the standard categories. And most people just know about these categories on the front side, on the sales page. But you can actually use it inside the dashboard as well. So that's one thing that we used. And then the other thing we used was really just these, the custom pages. And we just set it up easy enough where they can basically embed anything that they wanted to. So in this case, they're embedding a calendar or a type form, but essentially if they wanted to embed something else at any point in time, they can just easily use the pages side and just put in the little snippet that's needed.
No, that's very impressive. I like it. And Typeform is a brilliant tool. It's super simple way. We recommend that people use Typeform all the time. And even for quizzes, I mean, I see you use it for, giving these surveys, but it works well for quizzes and things like that. Are there any ways that you're encouraging progress or completion through the course? And if you have any advice for, course creators in general, what are some of the ways that you found to be effective for helping encourage your students to complete the content and maybe gamify the process or track their progress, anything along those lines, just to help bring them to the finish line, whatever that finish line looks like?
Yeah, so right now we're kind of at 1.0 for that, because that is a really important concept. And I think a lot more people should put effort into creating that type of environment where people feel like they are progressing through the course. So right now, all we have are those different benchmarks in those different stages. So if we click into the grind, for example, which is the first stage that we tell people, if you're just getting started, this is like the getting started phase. Watch a video there that explains like what you're meant to do in this stage. But you see up the top there, we just have benchmarks that people should hit. And they're going to find and validate your online business idea. That's the first thing. And they use that course there, Idea Inspiration, to do that. The second thing is to complete the foundation online business plan spreadsheet, which is like doing your market research, right? Mm-hmm. And so they take the foundation, that middle course there, in order to put that together. Then the third thing is to set up and launch your website. And they use they can go through the one-day website course that shows them how to get that up and running. And the last thing is to open up relevant social media accounts, which is super simple. It only takes like 10 minutes to do. So once you've done that, what's good about the grind is that you can get through this relatively quickly within a month. And so once that's done, they're like, okay, great. I feel like I'm progressing now. I'm ready to move on to the hustle. There's a link there, click on that. And it'll take them through to the hustle, which is the next stage. So they'll watch a video so they know what to expect. And then they see those benchmarks they have to hit. So the goal is to get your business up to earning $3,000, like $3,000 a month. Get 10,000 or more unique website visitors, get 10,000 or more social followers, and get 3,000 more email subscribers. So all the courses that you can see down below there, these are all related to helping people reach those benchmarks. So that's how we do it right now. I would love to put in, and I know Rob, we've talked about this for the future, is putting in like a bit of almost like a progress tracker that people could use themselves, which I think will be really cool. So, you know, when they hit a benchmark, they get to click a button and say like, I've finished that benchmark, like check a box. And then they can see that they've progressed a little bit further through that stage, right? Until they eventually reach the next stage, which is the engine. I think that'd be really cool because it is like a roadmap. It is a journey that people go on where, especially if they're just getting started, they know nothing, right? And it may take them a couple of years before they've got a fully functioning, you know, business that is like doing really well. But we've found that going through these 5 stages for us, in our space, is generally like the fastest path towards success.
Yeah. So Tyler, just to add on to that as well, I mean, just simply organizing this content will enable the students to get the progress and know where they are and kind of get them to the end point, as well as kind of those introductory videos so that it's always available to them at their fingertips. And then the one other thing I think which also helps to this is this kind of instant resume feature. So without them even thinking, as soon as they log in, they would just click this button and just resume where they left off. So they don't even have to navigate and they just continue where they are.
Yeah.
So cool.
No, this is all really well done. And you've already moved your students over to this course. So what has the feedback been like? Have they noticed the difference in when they log into the back end, and what have they been saying?
Dude, it's so much easier for them. Like everyone is like, actually what's happened is a lot of people who were members, they missed a bunch of courses that they were meant to take. And so when we switched over to Thinkific, they've kind of gone back to the courses that they missed, and they've started going through them again. So it's really helped to re-engage those people who sort of skipped a bunch of things that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really.
Yeah,
good.
I thought that was interesting too because it was the same exact content that was in the old system. We just moved it over, we organized it, and people were like, "Wow, I spent all day in this. I didn't know it was there." And so that was really fascinating.
Yeah.
So Rob, I've got a technical question for you. So if somebody has an existing membership site on another platform and they build something really beautiful like this on Thinkific and they're ready to move all of their students over, from that technical standpoint, what was it like importing all of the students here, getting them set up with their logins, things like that? How smooth was that process for you guys?
I think that, well, I mean, that was more on Josh's side in terms of the actual access, and they were using Infusionsoft, I guess. So I don't know, Josh, maybe you want to talk about that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it was so easy because my operations person did it.
Okay.
But I do know from talking, this is why I know it wasn't actually that hard, was because I didn't even ask. So Naja is in charge of operations. I didn't even have to ask her any questions about how it's going. Like, and she's technical, but she's not like a coder or anything like that. But she was able to put it together and migrate everyone over quite easily. And who really helped out a lot was Veronica was amazing. Veronica from Thinkific. She was amazing giving like information on how to do that. And it's actually with Infusionsoft, it actually wasn't that hard. It was actually pretty simple to do. So there's just like a few steps you have to follow, but you guys have tutorial on that stuff anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and just Tyler, just in terms of if you were moving over, the only kind of other recommendation I would make is how you organize your content, right? And always center it around the results and kind of that roadmap that you have in terms of the progression that you want your students to go into. And that's going to really help and kind of, group your content together and also your curriculum. Sometimes I've seen other people that have membership sites and their courses are huge, right? And so that's going to make it difficult for students to know that they've actually accomplished things and gotten the results. So break it up, make it easy for them to get results. It's all about getting results for your students, and you kind of organize it that way. That would be very helpful.
He's a smart man, this Rob guy. I just want to speak to Rob real quick and say like how amazing you were in putting this together for us. Like, and I'm not ashamed to say, like, if you want to hire someone to do this, you need to go straight to Rob and work with him, because he was like absolutely incredible through the whole experience. I honestly, I've never worked with anyone, a designer or a developer who was able to get these kind of results as quickly as what you did, Rob. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Josh. I really appreciate it. I love Thinkific, just for the fact that it's totally customizable, and no matter what situation you're in, you can really kind of do things that you don't think is possible, and that's why I really adopted the platform. That's all I do, so I don't do anything else.
That's awesome. That's a great testimony you got there, Rob. So, Josh, I've got another question for you before we start wrapping up. For you to gauge the success of your business and the success of your membership site, what are some of the metrics that you look at? And this is not so much, we're going beyond the scope of how you've designed the site here, but I'm just curious, what are those important numbers that you're looking for you to know that your membership site is doing well, your business is growing, it's doing well? And what would you advise other people who are maybe starting a membership site for the first time? What are those metrics or numbers or criteria that they need to keep a close eye on?
Yeah, so a membership site is all about retention. Yeah, so the reason why retention is super important, because with retention you can figure out average customer lifetime value. So if you're selling a one-off course, and let's say that course is $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. Your average customer lifetime value is $1,000, right? If you're selling a membership and your membership is $100 per month, you need to know how long the average person is staying for to figure out your average customer lifetime value. So you need to find out, are they staying for 10 months? They're staying for 12 months? Like, how long are they staying for? And that way you can figure that out. So what we look at is churn. We look at lowering a churn rate. And churn is basically, let's say your churn rate is 10%. What that means is you had 100 members this month, and then next month, without adding new members in, you've got 90 members. So you had 10% of them churn out, right? So your goal as a membership site owner is to lower churn as much as possible. And it's so important because in our space, the average membership site, I don't know why it's the case. I don't know why it's the case, but it's so bad. Is like 20% churn, 20% churn, right? So with a 20% churn, it's going to take you. It takes about 5 months for you to churn out your entire audience if you were to stick with 20% the whole time, which is terrible. That's not good. So if you can double that, if you can go from 20% churn to 10% churn, you can literally double your average lifetime value, right? So our churn right now, so we switched over to Thinkific, had a big impact, absolutely. We've made like other adjustments with marketing and things like that. We went from a 10% churn and now we're at 7%. So it keeps going down, and we just want to keep bringing that further and further down. That's our goal. And so that's what you need to track every single month. It's not hard as well. You just have a spreadsheet where you're like, I have 100 members right now. A member leaves, I have 99 members. A new member comes, I have 100 members. You get 2 new members, I have 102. Just keep tracking that on a daily basis. And then each month you'll be able to figure out, okay, how many members left this month? So I can figure out what my churn rate is. And also how many members did I get this month? And that's your growth rate. If your growth rate is higher than your churn rate, then you're growing. Yeah, that's all you're trying to do. So that's what we look at. Retention, churn, and growth rate. They're the 3 things that we really focus on.
Oh, that's awesome. Great advice. Thanks for sharing that. So is there anything we didn't touch on? Any last words of advice or something that you would like to share? And this would be specifically for somebody else who's trying to build a successful membership site. Whether it's on Thinkific or not, what is something that words of encouragement or a big lesson or a mistake to avoid, something we can leave them with?
So firstly, hire Rob if you're going to put this together right away.
I'll vouch for that. That's a good idea, Josh. Thank you.
Because you're going to get amazing results, and you're going to be able to focus on other things as the community leader. Secondly, I would say focus as much of your attention on community building aspects of your business, right? Mm-hmm. Courses are important, I'm not going to lie, but if you set them up in the way that we just mentioned there, in that roadmap style, you're going to get really great results for your customers. But really focus on trying to help them feel like they're a part of something. That is the most important. That is all we really care about now, is just trying to make people feel like they're more connected. So that's like the last thing I want to leave you guys with.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree, Josh. It's people don't buy courses, they buy results, and they buy you. Those are the 2 things they buy. And that's what everybody kind of forget. So if you can focus on delivering results that you promised and keep engaged with your students, and to do that at the dashboard level is all about getting them results, making them happy, making sure they know where your content is. If they can't find your content, they're not going to get the results and they're not going to be happy, right? So make it easy on your members to achieve those results that you promised them, and stay engaged with them.
Nailed it.
Perfect. Well, great advice, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to hop on this call. I think it's like an incredible case study of what can be done and how a beautiful membership site can be created on Thinkific. And you guys are a great example, both as as community leaders and as course creators and designers. More specifically to Rob there, who helped with the design of the site there. But really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to check out Screw the 9 to 5, I will link to that website below the video. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Rob, we've got you listed on our experts marketplace. And so I'll make sure we link to your profile there as well if anyone has questions for you. But thank you both. And we'll be in touch, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.